Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into journaling for mental health?
Always ready for a deep dive.
Well, I've got these lecture notes, all about the benefits of journaling, different techniques, even some stuff on potential downsides. I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, the downsides are important to consider for sure. But what strikes me right away, journaling, it's often seen as like this trendy thing, but it's actually got a seriously long history.
Right. The notes actually start with Marcus Aurelius. His Meditations. Imagine a Roman emperor, with all that on his plate, finding comfort in writing.
It puts things in perspective, right? And he wasn't alone. Think about Virginia Woolf. Her diaries were this incredible outlet for her emotions and creativity.
And Anne Frank, documenting such a harrowing experience. It's powerful stuff.
It really is. But okay, so moving to the modern day, what about the science behind why journaling works? Your notes mention cognitive unloading. What's that all about?
Yeah, so cognitive unloading. Basically, it's
Mhm.
like our minds are constantly processing, right? Thoughts, experiences, it can all build up. And journaling, it's a way to transfer that stuff onto paper.
Oh, so like decluttering your mind, does that have actual like physical effects too?
It does. Apparently, expressive writing, like journaling, can lower cortisol levels.
Cortisol, the stress hormone, if it's constantly higher, that's not good news. So journaling, it's not just a feeling, it's actually impacting our bodies.
That's wild. Okay, so it's good for stress, but the notes also talk about emotional regulation, self-awareness, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's about putting feelings into words.
Yeah.
When you do that, it activates the prefrontal cortex, the decision-making part of the brain. So you're not just reacting, you're making sense of your emotions.
So instead of being swept away by feelings, you can pause, think it through.
Exactly. And have you ever noticed just naming an emotion can make it feel less intense?
I think so, yeah.
It's because you're shifting from that gut reaction to more thoughtful processing. And over time, you might spot patterns in your journal like, oh, this always triggers that feeling. It's powerful stuff.
It's like becoming your own therapist, in a way. Now, the notes also talk about problem solving, which I found surprising.
Right. But it makes sense. Journaling, it forces you to organize your thoughts.
Hmm,
When you write down a problem, you break it down, you look at it from different angles, solutions can emerge that you wouldn't have seen otherwise.
okay, that makes sense.
Uh,
So we've got all these benefits, but I'm guessing there's no one right way to journal, is there?
You got it. Your notes actually list a bunch of different styles, each with its own advantages. Like, there's gratitude journaling, writing down what you're thankful for.
Makes sense. Gratitude, good vibes, all that.
And studies show it actually works. Boosts happiness, improves sleep. Some even say it can lower blood pressure.
Wow. Okay, what other styles are there?
Well, if you're more of a go with the flow type, there's stream of consciousness. Just write whatever comes to mind. No editing, no judgment. It's a great way to get stuff out of your head.
A total mind dump.
Exactly. And for the super organized folks, there's bullet journaling, to-do lists, habit tracking, reflections, all in one place.
So organized. I love it. What about reflecting on past experiences, though? Is there a journaling style for that?
Totally. Reflective journaling. You look back at events, analyze your feelings, try to gain insights from what happened. Really helpful for learning from your experiences.
It's like having a chat with your past self. Fascinating.
Right. And then there's mood journaling. Tracking your emotions throughout the day. It can help you spot patterns and triggers like, oh, every time I do this, I end up feeling that.
Okay, so tons of styles to try. But before we get too excited, the notes do mention potential downsides to journaling. Should we be worried?
Well, it's important to be aware, right?
Totally. What are some of the things we should watch out for?
Well, one thing is over-rumination. That's when you just get stuck dwelling on the negative without finding solutions.
Oh, I definitely do that sometimes.
We all do. We were talking about journaling's downsides, like getting stuck ruminating.
Right, right. Just dwelling on the negative stuff. So how do we avoid that? Make sure journaling is actually helpful.
It's all about focusing on solutions, not just venting. Like, instead of, oh, I feel awful, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What can I do about it?
So turn those bad vibes into action steps. Makes sense. What else should we watch out for?
Self-criticism. Journaling can become this platform for your inner critic. Instead of support, you're just beating yourself up.
Oh, I know that one all too well. It's like that voice in your head gets a megaphone.
It's tough, right? But try practicing self-compassion in your journal. Write to yourself like you'd write to a friend. Encouragement, understanding, all that good stuff.
That's a good point. It's so easy to be way harder on ourselves.
It really is. And remember, it's your journal. No one else has to see it. So be honest, be vulnerable, no judgment.
Speaking of others, is it ever a good idea to share your journal?
It depends. It's personal. Some people find it helpful to share with someone they trust, a therapist maybe, or a support group.
To process stuff, get a different perspective.
Exactly. But trust is key. And you don't have to share everything, just what you're comfortable with.
Got it. So sharing is an option, but not a must.
Yeah.
What about practical tips? How do we actually make journaling a habit?
Well, the notes emphasize starting small. You don't need to write a novel every day. Even 5 minutes can be beneficial. And be consistent.
Oh, good. No pressure to write pages and pages?
Nope. Just find a time that works and stick to it. Morning, night, whatever's good for you.
What about when you just don't feel like writing?
Totally normal. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. Even if you just jot down a few thoughts, it helps.
Consistency is key, even if it's mini entries sometimes. Okay, so we're starting small, being consistent. Any other tips to stay motivated?
Try using prompts. They're like questions or statements to get you started.
Oh, like what? Give me an example.
Sure. 3 things I'm grateful for today, something I'm proud of, a challenge I'm facing, and how can I approach it differently?
Ooh, I like those. It's a fun way to get the ideas flowing.
Exactly. And you don't have to stick to pen and paper either. Use a fancy notebook, a plain one, a computer document, even a journaling app. Whatever works for you.
It's all about personalization.
Yeah.
So we've got starting small, being consistent, using prompts, finding the right format. What else is important?
Don't forget self-care. Journaling's great, but it's not everything. Sleep, good food, exercise, social connection, it all matters.
Holistic well-being.
Exactly. Journaling's one piece of the puzzle.
Okay, so downsides, practical tips, self-care, anything else before we move on?
One last thing, think of journaling as self-discovery. It's a journey, not about being perfect.
Ooh, an adventure. I like that.
Right. There'll be ups and downs, but embrace the process.
So to sum up, journaling's great for mental health, but approach it mindfully. Be kind to yourself. Find what works for you.
Start small, be consistent, prompts, format, all that good stuff.
And it's a journey of self-discovery. Be patient. Be curious.
We've covered a lot of ground, the science, the different styles, the practical stuff.
Now for the really cool part, real stories. The notes share an example of a war veteran dealing with PTSD.
Yeah, pretty intense, right? He used journaling to process all those traumatic memories. It actually helped with nightmares and intrusive thoughts.
Wow. So it gave him a safe space to work through it all.
Exactly. It's incredible, right, how something as simple as writing can have such a huge impact.
And it's not just for, like, extreme situations.
Right. The notes also talk about this executive, super busy, totally burned out.
Oh, I can relate to that.
Right. So she started a gratitude journal, just focused on the good things in her day.
Simple but powerful.
It shifted her whole perspective, helped her find balance again.
It's a good reminder that small changes can make a big difference.
Absolutely. These stories, they really show how transformative journaling can be.
It's inspiring, not just putting words on paper, but like creating space for healing, for growth.
Exactly. So as we wrap up, a few things to remember. Journaling, it's personal. There's no right or wrong way.
Find what works for you. Try different styles. Be patient with the process.
It's not about perfection. It's about progress.
And creating a space where you can be totally honest with yourself.
Embrace the journey, Be compassionate. Explore those inner depths.
Love that. So grab that notebook or open up that app and just start writing.
Who knows what you'll discover.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into journaling.